Welcome back to another episode of Minecraft. I'm Jade, and in today's episode, we gonna build a castle. Not a massive castle, but it'll definitely be the first of many in this world. So I spent a few hours building up a road that leads from the fishing village that we built in the first few episodes of our series, and it's gonna lead up to higher ground, where we will lay out the foundations of our tower castle. We've established in the lore of our world that the area around spawn is highly contested by multiple factions, and this castle that we build today will overlook the village of Fishaville, and its protection will be the reason that the village below is able to survive and prosper. So let's take a look at the location where we're going to build our castle. So call me crazy, but I like building roads. I find it to be very chill and satisfying. I'll put on a TV show or a YouTube video and I'll just start digging and placing. This road is very simple though, it's just coarse dirt and path blocks. Occasionally I'll go and place a few spruce slabs whenever I go up or down a block. And I've also gone along and bone mealed the grass alongside the road, and I've added some trees to make the forest look more dense around the road itself. I think roads add a lot to the atmosphere in a world. I think it makes it feel a whole lot bigger. And we're going to try to stick to using roads even when we eventually get elytra in the coming episodes. I think elytra work well to really shrink a world. It makes it feel small, where if you're taking a road, it makes things feel a lot more spread out and it makes your world feel a lot bigger. So this is where we're going to put our castle. I've kind of been eyeing this spot up here since way back in episode 2, because I think it's just the perfect spot to put some type of castle or defense type structure up on top of. I've increased the render distance here just for a bit, all the way up to max, just so you can see the lake that we have here in the center of our world. And then the lake itself is kind of surrounded on each side by cliff faces. So I think each one of these is perfect to put a castle or a defense tower on top of. But right here, kind of overlooking Fishaville, is a great spot for this one. You take a look at it in free cam mode. It's kind of just like a steep cliff on two sides, and over here you can't get up this way either. So the only way to get up here is going to be by the road we just made, so we can build like a gatehouse, and then maybe a few other buildings up here on like this raised peninsula type landmass. And then the main part of the castle is going to be a tower. It'll probably start right about where I'm standing. I want to get it as close to the cliff face as possible. Maybe even have some blocks coming down. And then rising up in a tower. And that'll act as the protector of Fishaville down there. And whoever the lord or the king or whoever lives in this castle, kind of rules over the fishing village and keeps them safe from any raiders that might come through these contested lands. But yeah, it's a really cool view up here. And I think the top of the tower is going to have an even better view than the one we have right now. So let's get started. I'm going to first lay out an outline of the tower just so we can get an idea of how big we want the structure to be and like proportions, how wide to how tall we want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first, and then bring you guys back in and we can start adding in some details. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Jade, this looks awful. And you'd be correct. It's looking pretty bad. It's looking pretty plain right now. And I would never claim to be a great builder. And I might not even be an average builder. But I do know that when you're building something, and the goal is to view it from far away, your best bet is to make a rough outline of the build first. And get the shape down that you want it to have, so that the silhouette looks good from a distance, regardless of if the up-close details look good or not. So that's what I did here, and how I went about doing that is I decided on how big I wanted the base of the tower to be. So in here, I went with a 9x9 space inside, because I felt like this was big enough to where we might be able to have multiple rooms on a floor, instead of just having like one room per floor of the tower. And then once I had the 9x9 in my head, I just built up until I thought it looked good, size-wise. And it's going to be a little bit taller than this because we're going to add some crenellations on the top. But for the materials that we used, I went mostly with tough, and then it gets lighter as it goes up. So tough to cobblestone, and then to stone. And then when we go in here and start detailing, we'll move some cobblestone down into the tough area. We'll throw in some tough into the cobblestone, and then we'll add some stone into the cobblestone and some cobblestone into the stone. So that way it'll give it a nice texture, and it'll get lighter as it goes up. We may even add some deep slate down here at the very bottom, so it'll be really dark down here, and then just go lighter as it gets taller up. But I guess it's time to start detailing this thing out so it's just not a gray box. Probably going to add something here on the side to make it, not just a flat wall. And then, like I said, crenellations on the top, and we'll poke some windows and a door in here somewhere. But as we do that, in a time lapse, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the lore of the world. Still got a lot of history that we got to go over, so I thought we might as well start at the beginning and talk about the Spawn Age. So, let's do that. So today we're going to talk about the first age in our world, which we are calling the Spawn Age. The Spawn Age is like the Stone Age in the real world. It predates historical records and lasted anywhere from thousands of years to millions of years. Since there were no historical records of this time period, the people of our world today know very little about this age, and only scholars really attempt to discern what actually happened during this era. What the scholars of our world do know is that the Spawn Age was characterized by the presence of enormous creatures that served as the apex predators of the time. The bones of these ancient giants can still be found in the world today. Humans first emerged during this age, though they were forced to live in caves, venturing out to hunt and gather for food. Their cave lifestyle kept them protected from the giant creatures, but it also limited them from expanding and sharing ideas. The Spawn Age is thought to have come to an end around 3,500 years before Steve, marking a significant transition in human history. An unknown mass extinction event wiped out the giant creatures, and humans began to expand beyond their cave-dwelling existence. They developed more complex tools, social structures, and survival strategies. The end of the Spawn Age signaled the beginning of a new era, in which humans were no longer just survivors, but emerging as the dominant species capable of shaping their environment in more profound ways, and leading to the rise of more advanced societies in the next age, which is known as the Age of Crafters. We'll talk more about the Age of Crafters in the next episode. So, what do you guys think about the Spawn Age? It's definitely the most mysterious age in our world, and therefore takes the shortest amount of time to talk about. But I decided to throw in that part about the giant creatures who ruled as the apex predators, keeping humans, hiding away in caves. Because Minecraft does have giant, like the fossils of giant creatures. You can find bone blocks generated in your world, like in the shape of a rib or in the shape of a skull. So I thought that would be cool to add in there about the giant creatures. But other than that, the Spawn Age is a great mystery to the people in this world here, and to us as the viewers of this world. They don't really know what happened back then, and especially don't know what brought about the end of the giant creatures, like some great catastrophic event. No one knows what that was, so different people have different ideas on what it could be. Anyway, that's the lore for today's episode, and this is what we've built. So we've added this little piece over here, like I said, to make it look less flat. And then we've gone around and added in the tuff into the cobblestone. We've just mixed up everything, and I've gone ahead and added some mossy cobblestone in as well, because I think that looks good. We've added a door and some windows and the crenellations on top. I thought this was a good idea, having like a drawbridge, super small drawbridge here. But just for defense, we will probably build some walls in a gatehouse. But then if people were to get through that, they could at least close this off to make it a little bit harder to break in the front door. But we don't have anything in here yet. So this is the next part. I decided to break it into only 2 floors. The top floor is going to be room for bedrooms. And then the bottom floor, I think we're going to try to just divide it right down the middle. And then this side with the door will be like a hall where the people can eat, maybe a table. And then over here will be a kitchen. And it might serve as like a kitchen and a servant's quarters. I think we can bust out this wall here. Yeah, and make the kitchen a little bit larger. But this is the next part that we'll have to complete. We're going to go in and add an interior to this building here. So let me do that, and I'll bring you guys back in and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've filled up the interior of our castle tower up here, and I like the way it turned out. And as I was doing it, as I was adding in rooms and putting furniture in there, I kind of came up with a backstory for this castle in particular on top of this hill here. I figured that the people who lived here was a family who are petty kings. And what I mean by that is they consider themselves to be kings, but really they're not more powerful than a lord. They don't have any vassals underneath them. They just control Fisherville and, this road here pretty much. They claim to be kings of the spawn lands, so all of this area around the lake. But like we established earlier, this area is very contested by many people. And they call themselves kings, but no one else in the world really thinks of them as being kings. But they do have their own autonomy in this little bit of area they control. So let's go ahead and look on the inside here. Like we said, we put a hall here when you first walk in the door. And it is a little tight, but I was able to put a table here with some more fancy chairs and a fireplace here. Really simple. I noticed while building this, the next farm that we desperately need in this world is a wool farm. We got to get some sheep going because we need banners. It's super easy way to add a lot of detail to make like a custom banner for this particular castle, and we can just put it everywhere. Wool is also important for other decorations like beds and stuff. I really thought, you never really need wool because you never build out of it like stone or cobble or bricks, but it's great for the decorations. So I think in the next episode we'll try to build a wool farm. Through this door here is the kitchen, and it's a little bit bigger than that other room, but not much. They share this fireplace here, which I thought was pretty cool. Like you can see it on both sides, and it goes up the chimney. I got our bed here for the servant, or I don't know if you would call him a servant or like a steward. It's probably a pretty important position in the castle. Like the people down in Fisherville would probably kill to have this position because this guy's probably very important. As he's the only servant here in this castle, he would take care of the food and probably run all the finances and stuff of the castle. But this is his bed where he sleeps. And then there is a cellar down here that's pretty dark. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's only lit up using some lichen. But it's just chests and stuff down here for storage. In case the castle's ever under siege, they have food. And I guess we can head upstairs next. It was kind of hard finding a way to get a staircase in here. I just didn't want to use just a ladder for this level. But it was very hard to like wrap this around and get it fitted in here. But up on this level, there's like a little hallway. And I did use a ladder here to go up to the roof. but we'll go into these two rooms first. So this room here on the left is a room for like the kids or the children of the petty king. They don't have an actual bed, they just have mat on the ground to sleep on. They have a good view out here of more mountains off in the distance. And then over next to them, this is the king's bed chamber. So he's got a bed, a pretty big bed. He's got a view of Fishaville and the ancient city ruins. He's got a sword up above his furnace. I couldn't fit an entire fireplace up on this level. So we did a furnace. He gets the front side. And then over in this room, they have the back side of the furnace. But not too much. He's got a crossbow sitting here. Once again, got to get more banners in. And then if we continue on up to the next level, there's like a little terrace here. And then up onto the roof where you could come up if you wanted to, you know, guard from potential invaders. It also has a really good view up here of just the entire spawn area. And then there's the chimney with the fireplace lit. So if we take a look at this from a little bit of a distance, I think it's turned out nice. And when it gets dark, you can see like the windows a lot better poking through. I think it makes a good silhouette up here. But I like the way that the interior turned out. Let me know if there's any other things that we're missing, you know, inside of a castle. What do they need? Because we can start adding more buildings around this tower here with the other needs that they might have. So let me know about those down in the comments. Okay, so we're over in our trading hall because I wanted to show you guys that we finally got the Mending Villager and all of his swamp buddies put into our trading hall, and I've been trading with these guys. I wanted to show you that we finally got them here. And we got all of our good gear in the last episode. And I've gone ahead now and started making backup pairs of gear. So this is like blast protection gear, fire gear in case we ever go to the nether or something, and then we just have a full set of backup gear and tools, and I've been working on getting all that completed. So that'll be good just in case we ever die a fiery death. Also, between episodes, I finally added a bubble vader over in our spawn hole, a project that we've talked about since episode 1. Finally got the soul sand and the kelp, and we finally installed it, so now we don't have to take a ladder every time we go up to the surface. It's the little things, you know, that make a big difference in your world. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode, so let's go ahead and read the comment of the day. The update that makes mending only possible in swamp villagers is not in effect yet. It's still in development. Currently, all villagers can trade all books, it's just a matter of chance. So yeah, I was led astray. What happened was I was trading with these guys who are all savannah villagers, and I was, you know, putting down the loom, or not the loom, the lectern, seeing what trade they had, breaking it, putting it back, seeing what trade they had, breaking it, and all of these guys were giving me, well, none of them were giving me mending. So I looked it up real quick, and I saw a post that said, oh, you can only get mending from swamp villagers. So I was like, oh, let's go to the swamp and grind out some villagers over there. But that is just an experimental feature. It hasn't actually been added to the game yet, which is a shame that I put in that much work. But that's what I get for not doing thorough research. So be careful. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now about villagers and what you need to trade. Like, this was a well upvoted post with a lot of people commenting on it. So just be aware of that when you're going to set up villager trading in your own world. But now we do have swamp villagers in bulk, just in case they ever do make that that change, and we need to get another mending guy. But hopefully this mending guy never dies. But that's going to do it for today's episode. We built the castle tower, which is like the centerpiece of the area up on top of this hill up here. But in the next episode, we're going to add a gatehouse, maybe some walls. We'll definitely add a stable up here. And any other ideas that you may have in the comments about how to make this castle more defensible, or things that may be needed to help the castle run, let me know. And we can get them added in the next episode. But thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all of the support on the previous videos. I'm having a blast making this series, and your continued support makes it so much more fun. So if you have any ideas also about the lore of our world, throw them in the comments. It's your chance to get in here early and make a change to the world that we can build upon forever. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.